A Thessalonian you're fighting. He's the biggest man I've ever seen. I wouldn't want to fight him.
That's why no one will remember your name.
I'll go right.
But going back to the Pacers defense, it's a number of things that allowed them to eventually constrict this Oklahoma City Thunder offense. Nembhard was able to contain SGA with the ball pressure, thus allowing Naismith to fully dedicate all his attention on J-Dub. And just sticking to that starting unit, a third player that was really impacting that defense was Myles Turner, as he finally won his matchup against Chet. And it doesn't necessarily get reflected in his stats, but Chet struggled to score against him on one-on-one situations. And most importantly, Turner was able to make his presence felt in the paint, getting 2 blocks. This is where Chet throughout this series has really impacted that matchup and won majority of this battle so far. It's not necessarily his scoring either. It's the impact that he has on the Thunder by getting them second chance points, by grabbing offensive boards, his isolation defense out on the perimeter against Tyrese Haliburton, just containing him out there in that space. So a lot of the intangibles is really the battle between Chet and Myles Turner in this series. And in game 6, Turner definitely had came out on top. And I firmly believe this is one of the main battles within this matchup that's going to make the difference in this series. Myles Turner does have the most favorable matchup in the paint, especially when OKC goes small. So can he take advantage of that situation on both ends of the court? Also, can he have one game where he's knocking down some of these wide open threes? Something like that could flip this series in a whole different direction. But going back to this Pacers defense and knowing that there's 3 starters alone that's cooking on that end of the court, you already knew it was going to trickle down to the rest of this team, as they finished this game with 7 different players who had a steal. Just look at this play right here as it summarizes this defense in total. Ben Shepherd closes out this gap right here for SGA, stunts in. Nembhard completely closes out right here. Look at Pascal on the help. Look at Obi on the help right here. Again, here's another play with this Pacers defense. Guys are just everywhere and in sync, and they don't mind leaving Lou Dort open. Here's another play, Hartenstein off the offensive board. Naismith gets in there. Look at Tyrese Haliburton. And this looks like the old Pacers right here. Ball movement, quick transition points. This is something we rarely seen in this series. And it's not just coming from the Pacers. Even the Thunder getting out in transition has been rare. But in game 6, the Pacers got back to looking like their old selves. And everything started with the defense, getting 16 steals and forcing 21 turnovers that began to completely constrict J-Dub as well as SGA. And it's not necessarily the Thunder star duo. It's exactly what they were facing. As right here, SGA, he gets blitzed. And we're going to see the Thunder swing this around. But it's right here. When J-Dub attacks his closeout, look at Pascal. He's going to help out. Because with the Thunder shooters just being so cold, now they could back off. And now guys have to start facing clogged up lanes. And they're going to have to make quick reads. As Caruso's going to back over here in the corner, but J-Dub draws this foul. But this is what they were facing in this matchup, knowing that not only the Pacers defenders are on point, but they're not necessarily getting shooting help from their teammates. Again, right here, as soon as SGA attacks, look at TJ. Guys are going to continue to gamble because they want the other Oklahoma City Thunder players to make their shots. The Pacers facing elimination, they were willing to die on that hill of just closing any attacking lanes that SGA and J-Dub would get. Look at Myles Turner right here throughout this whole series. Once again, he's been trying to read these type of screens with SGA coming downhill. Sometimes SGA will reject the screen, or sometimes he would take it, depending on what Myles Turner is doing, because he's not fast enough to react. As right here, he's not fast enough to react. And look who helps him out, Naismith. He gets in that attacking lane. He's willing to back off for some of the shooters, even J-Dub at times. This is what happens to good teams when they reach the finals. They got to pick a hill and go all out and be willing to die on it. So in game 6, the Pacers definitely chose to clog up the attacking lanes of SGA and J-Dub, fully gamble on OKC's role players to make shots. Again right here, when SGA goes on the attack, look at Mathurin, he's on Wiggins. But look where his attention goes to. Now check out Wiggins. See, they care more about SGA's attacking lanes, and they're willing to die on that hill. Now let's look at the same exact scenario for J-Dub, as Pascal and Tony Bradley clogs up his attacking lanes, but he's able to draw the foul, but nothing is going to come easy. You see in the previous game, which was game 5, J-Dub was sort of cooking like Jimmy Butler in the paint, just getting to the rack, ending the game shooting about 60% from the field. The Pacers were not letting that happen in game 6. They even gave Lou Dort plenty of chances to knock down his crazy knuckleball threes. Those high arcing shots that he was able to knock down throughout this series, they were willing to even test that out. And he had his chances. Dort missed quite a few of them that even at times when he was open, he started to pass up the three-point shot.